Good morning, everyone. This is Commissioner Olson. Today is Tuesday, August 6, 2024. We'll call this meeting to order at 8 o'clock a.m. As a reminder, our call-in number is 1-971-254-3149, conference ID 866-914-607#. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone to mute your phone. You can do this by pressing *6. Please unmute yourself when called to speak, again pressing *6. Very important for all others to remain muted. Thank you. We'll call a meeting to order at August 6, 8 o'clock a.m. and welcome to everyone. We'll take the commissioner's roll call. Commissioner Bell is at the county fair, although she may be in and out. So Commissioner Bell, are you with us on this part of the call?
I am with you. Good morning.
Good morning. And Commissioner Scar? Well, I don't hear Commissioner Scar, so we'll move right along. Adventist Health is not available this morning. I believe Eric may be on vacation for another day or two. So we'll move over to the Coastal Caucus. I did hear Senator Weber sign in. So Senator, take it away.
Thank you. Am I on muted?
You are coming through just fine, loud and clear. Go right ahead.
Thank you. Yes, the fair starts on Wednesday, and it's like a beehive out there. As you may know, I do, after working there for 35 years in food, I find myself working there again in food, but for a different reason. And that is my friend Chris Shirk and Shauna Thorpe are working with me to provide food for the staff and the fair board and Paramutual and the folks who keep the track groomed so that they have lunch materials, snack materials, and a dinner every night. And so it's been a lot of fun, and it's really fun seeing people come and bring their entries. I think it's very important that people enter things in the fair. I sponsor, I think, 4 or 5 additional awards at the fair, which is something else you can do to encourage people. In my husband's name, my mother's name, things that were favorites to them. And so the fair is a wonderful coming together of our community, and it attracts people from everywhere. Our Pig and Fords are famous. Our food is famous. It's going to be a great week, let me tell you. Yesterday, I was honored to be able to attend the retirement for Dale Hickman, a Tillamook city employee in Public Works. He was a man, he is a man who knows how to do everything. There was nothing that Dale didn't know how to do as far as related to Public Works. And he has been absent for a couple of years because of a stroke, but it was nice to be able to get together with him yesterday and tell him again how much the city of Tillamook really appreciated everything that he did for them. And then, speaking of the city of Tillamook, I got to attend the police chief, Troxel, being sworn in ceremony at City Hall. And it was a nice gathering of community members and our police force and police force people from other places in the state, supporting him and supporting his effort as he becomes the police chief. And I want to also say that Wednesday is also Happy Birthday Clatsop County. Clatsop County celebrates 180 years on Wednesday. So congratulations to them for weathering the storm for 180 years and all that they have been able to do. This week also is 2 very important meetings, the Northwest Act, which relates to transportation, and COLPAC, which relates to our economic development in our whole Northwest Oregon region. Those meetings will be in Scappoose this month. They move around our area. They are quite often in Tillamook. And so if you ever hear of them happening in Tillamook, I think that you should avail yourself to go and see what is happening in economic development in our area, what is happening in the efforts for transportation. And speaking of that, there's been some flap I've been seeing on Facebook concerning Highway 6, and people saying, we've got to do something. Highway 6 is in terrible shape. I just want you to know that a study at my behest was passed by the legislature in 2022, and it was completed in August of 23. It is a 42-page document that you can avail yourself, that you can look at all of the conditions on Highway 6 that need to be able to be addressed by our ODOT and our legislature. Some very alarming issues with, the earth slipping away and the lack of turnouts and the lack of cell service, which may be remedied soon, are delineated in that report. That report also has excellent graphics to be able to show you exactly where the problems and the issues are. It was a well-done report by ODOT. I'm also requesting, I requested in the short session, one be done on Highway 30 because we have been having several fatal accidents on Highway 30 in the Clascanine area, which tells me that we need to address safety issues in that area also. But going forward, people, please look that report up or contact me and I can send you the link so that you can read it online. Also, pay attention to the things like the Joint Transportation Committee. They were here. They were here to listen to what we as an area feel are important issues that need to be addressed. I'm going to be going to the last hearing actually in their whole circuit, which will be in Hillsborough, to reiterate what we need in way of repairs and enhancements for Highway 6 so that nobody forgets. My husband always said he just knew I had a tattoo that said "Born to Nag," and I think that Highway 6 brings it out in me. So for your information, the report has been completed. It is available, and you can read it and find out all about Highway 6 and the conditions that need to be addressed. I also reported to you last week that I had met with ODOT to address what we can do going forward in the next budget selection time to address some of these issues. So hopefully, you know that ODOT has reported that it is in serious financial difficulties at the present time. A lot of those are, I think, could have been seen coming, but as with many agencies in the state, they need to redefine how they are going to be funded to best serve the people. And as you all know, government takes time to get these things done. So with that, I will tell you I got to attend a majority of the city council for Tillamook last night. And I want to encourage people to pay attention to things that are going on. I know you've got your own concerns in your own families, but keep your ear out for what's going on in our community, because there's some exciting things that are possibilities that could happen in our community. So, and it basically it's like that all over the state, but we have to pay attention, because otherwise, if you do not pay attention, things will happen to you that you may not like. So with that, go to the fair, have fun, And then we'll listen for how many people got to go to the fair and who is the winner of the Pig and Forts next week. So thank you. Any questions?
Thank you, Senator Weber. Are there any questions for the good senator? Well, I don't hear any, so I guess I will see you at the fair. I will comment on Senator's cooking ability. For many years, the highlight for my part of the fair was to go to the booth where she was cooking and get a taco salad, probably the best taco salad in Western America, maybe all over. But she's very good at it and continues to do it. So if you haven't been to the Tillamook County Fair, you're missing something. It starts tomorrow at 10 a.m. So you better mark your calendars and take a day off or whatever you have to do and go to the fair. So last call for any questions for the senator. Don't hear any. How about Representative Javity? Are you online this morning? Well, I don't hear him either. Sometimes he joins us late. So let's move on down to the Tillamook County Health Center. Ed, are you with us this morning?
Yes, good morning, Commissioners. This is Ed Colson here with the Health Department.
Good morning.
Good morning. Well, this week, in addition to being Fair Week, it's also National Health Center Week, and that goes from August 4th through the 10th. As we celebrate National Health Center Week, our patients, our staff, and our community are at the heart of that celebration. National Health Center Week recognizes all of those responsible for the continued success and growth of federally qualified health centers, which are also known as community health centers. Oregon has 34 of them in over 270 locations, the first one opening their doors more than 50 years ago, and our own Tillamook County Community Health Center 30 years ago. Community health centers are a vital element in our healthcare system, delivering integrated primary health care to over 457,000 Oregonians living in urban, rural, and frontier communities who may otherwise not have access to care. Community health centers strive to put the community first, prioritizing the local needs of the community through patient-driven leadership or director boards. We are proud to have served the Tillamook County community for the past 30 years and look forward to the next. Visit our website, tillamookchc.org, to learn more about our health center and opportunities to join our patient leadership board, which is known as our Health Council. So as we've been talking, it is Tillamook County Fair Week. The fair is always a fun time, and we want to share a few health-related tips for keeping it that way and avoiding exposure to viruses or bacteria. One of the most important things you could do while enjoying the fair is to wash your hands with soap and water often, especially after you visited the animal areas, after using the restroom, riding rides, and before touching any food or beverages. There are hand washing stations around the fairgrounds, including outside of the animal barns and in the carnival area. But if one is not convenient, you can use alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Washing your hands is the #1 way to prevent the spread of germs, including bacteria such as Salmonella or E. coli that can cause food-related illness, and viruses such as the COVID-19 virus and the influenza virus that causes the flu. Now, as we speak, Tillamook County Community Health Center's power generator is being tested at our new public health building. It should be operational today. Our main health clinic already has a generator, but also having one for our public health services is great news, and it means critical services will remain available during power outages. And lastly, while at the fair, stop by the Tillamook County Library booth to grab free books and bookmarks about health literacy while they last. The health literacy bookmarks are a partnership between our Community Health Coalition, Tillamook County Wellness, and the County Library, being funded by OHSU's Night Cancer Institute. We hope these bookmarks will not only save your spot in your book, but also share important information that you are in charge of your health care and have the right to have your health information given to you in a way you understand. So to learn more about health literacy and our #TakeChargeOfYourHealth campaign, please visit TillamookCountyWellness.com. And that is our update. I'll turn it back over to you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Ed. Any questions for Ed or anything regarding our health department? Well, I don't hear any, so thanks again, Ed, and we'll look for you next week. So let's go up to the Nehalem Bay Health Center and Pharmacy. Gail Nelson, are you on this morning?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Hello,
ahead.
everyone. I just note here that construction has begun on the new health center and pharmacy. Work started last Thursday, and we're making progress. They've taken out several truckloads of dirt that are going to be used to help support another local project, and you can see that property also starting to take shape. And just another reminder, there may be some minor traffic impacts on Hospital Road over the next few weeks and months. So if you're coming to visit the clinic, please be aware of that. One lane will remain open at all times, and a flagger will be on hand if a lane closure is needed. And of course, another shout out for our weekly walking group every Tuesday at 10, different North County locations each week. Please visit NehalenBayHealth.org for the locations, and you can also visit TillamookCountyWellness.org for details on other walking groups taking place across Tillamook County. And thank you, Ed, for the reminder. It is Health Center Week, and we also celebrate that as well. And we are here to serve the county and appreciate the opportunity to support everyone. And yes, have a great time at the fair and also be safe. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Gail. Any questions for Gail this morning? All right, well, and we'll look for you next week. So let's go to the Tillamook Family Counseling Center. Frank Hannah Williams, are you online this morning?
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Frank Hannah Williams, Director of Tillamook Family Counseling Center, Behavioral Health Services for Tillamook County residents. Not a significant update this week, but I would like to remind people that we are also in the process of a renovation at our 904 site in Tillamook. And if you come to the office, you will notice that there's some activity right on 9th Street, right along Main. And please be careful with the parking there. And there's a good amount of activity with our renovation there. Don't have any major update, and please have fun at the fair, and please be mindful of all the things that were mentioned in the Health Center's update, and have fun. And if there are any questions about appointments, any programming, 503-842-8201 or 1-800-962-2851. That's my report for today.
Thank you, Frank. Any questions for Frank? Well, let's move on to the Sheriff's Office. Now, they're not reporting every week. I'm not sure if this is the week we hear from them. So, Sheriff, are you on, or anyone from the Sheriff's Office?
Good morning, Commissioner. I am here.
Okay,
Beginning of each month, so I can give a robust report, is what I've switched to. It works out a lot better. Can I ask a favor? Can you come back to me? I'm still working on getting some stats put together for everybody, right? Maybe before you guys give your report. Would that be okay?
I can do that, but then of course you'll owe us a favor too. So yes.
All right, thank you.
Put it in the bank. We will. Thank you. All right, let's go down then to emergency management. Randy, I see you're on this morning. What can you tell us?
You bet. Well, it's been fairly quiet here in Tillamook County on the emergency management front. Unlike our fellow Oregonians in the central and eastern part of Oregon that are still being plagued with that mean, vicious wildfires that are occurring. Just to keep you a little up-to-date information, there's currently 140 active fires in the state, and they burned a little over 1.2 million acres. It's quieting down a little bit, but they keep getting some lightning storms coming through in the central part of the state. So the wildfires seem to not want to go away for a while, and they probably won't until about October. So just a reminder to be extremely careful if you're out and about, and make sure that we do not have that type of issue here in wonderful Tillamook County. TC4 has begun their work in developing their county-wide drill that will be in conjunction with the shakeout again this October. They're hoping to build upon the great success they had last year with their county-wide drill. So that will be exciting to see all that come together. And speaking of traveling, you probably are aware with all the messaging that's gone out and the information that you get when you, of course, check with TripCheck that the road going into Cape Mears now has been closed for repair of the bridge. So you need to plan accordingly, and the detour, of course, is taking the Highway 131 around through Netarts and Oceanside and up on the beautiful Cape Mears Loop Road that the county completed this year. And so you need to add a little bit extra time to your going to Cape Mears, or if you're in Cape Mears and want to come in and visit the fair this week. So again, just be aware of that. And again, if you're traveling anywhere in the state, please go to TripCheck, because with a lot of the wildfires out there and construction going on statewide, roads are being closed and opened consistently out there. So definitely check and make sure of that, so you're not surprised on your trip and get down to that road and all of a sudden realize you should have taken a detour a few miles back. So anyway, with that, enjoy the fair, enjoy the fairly decent weather we're going to have this week. So with that, I'll turn it back to Commissioner Olson.
Thank you, Randy. I do have one question for you. You might remember a few weeks ago, our state forester appeared before the commission and brought us up to date on some of the fires. And I remember she said that virtually all the fires, at least at that point, were caused by humans, not lightning or some other natural cause. Do you have any update on that? How many of these terrible fires are caused by people? Hello, Randy, you still there? Well, maybe he signed off. So
I was muted. I keep
sure.
forgetting that. My mind wanders. No, I don't really have that. I just know that that is still a fairly high statistic. And just out of interest to everybody, the extremely large fire in California, they call them the Park Fire, that's burned a little over 400,000 acres, burned 500 homes. Luckily, no one has died on that one. That was an arson fire. So again, the human cause factor, it may not cause the majority of the fires, but at least they are causing great damage. And a few of the larger fires here in Oregon were human caused. A lot of the human caused fires, are small enough that they can get to them because they're, a campfire along the roadside that's fairly accessible. So, but I'm not sure on that. I just know that one human caused fire is way too many.
Well, indeed it is. So thank you, Randy, for that update. All right, let's see. First of the month here, I think we have, and I think I saw him online, Bill Jablonski from ODOT, who can maybe give us an update on the road system in the state of Oregon. Bill, are you online this morning?
Yes, good morning, Commissioner. Thank you very much. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Go right ahead.
Yes, this is Bill Jablonski. I'm the ODOT area manager here based out of Astoria, and happy to come on board every month to give an update. I can continue with some of the closures we're going to be having with some of the work we're going to be doing on Oregon 130. We have the opportunity to repair 3 scours that are along that highway on 2 separate bridges and 1 on a shoulder area. You're going to see some intermittent closures of Oregon 130 during the month of August and September. Of course, Oregon 22 will be the detour route for those folks who are not local, who may be able to still get to your residences. Look for announcements coming out either on TripCheck or on our Oregon.gov website. If you've signed up for those, you get those updates as well too. Also to report, the US 101 Garibaldi construction has kicked off. We do have a live contractor who is on board. We did have a pre-construction meeting at the city of Garibaldi. We're really thankful for them hosting that for us, so the contractor and ODOT folks can get out there and meet with some of the business owners as well too. The biggest impact we're going to see is most likely going to be next summer. I think some of the work we're going to be seeing later this summer and into the fall, as far as the concrete flat work, but most of the highway reconstruction work will mostly be happening next summer. More updates on that as we host a construction open house for the community later on this summer as well. Design work continues on the number of projects in Oregon 6. Big shout out to Senator Weber for emphasizing the continuing need to keep all eyes on Oregon 6 as we try to identify other funding sources for construction. So the 5 projects that we have continuing under Oregon 6, and my number 1 priority is the Oregon 6 at Wilson River Loop Road that is still under design with the expected construction to be in 25. So we're continuing for that. As more updates come out, I can share what the plans and some of the details might look like for construction. The other one we're working on as well too is the Oregon 6 roadside barrier upgrades. That is the entire length from Tillamook to Banks, the whole 50-mile stretch. Both sides of the highway are getting upgrades on those barriers, the end rail treatments, the new barriers themselves to help folks, as far as being able to keep inside your lane and not run off the sides of the road. So we're looking forward to that one as well too. I can also report that even though we have some budget woes within our agency, none of our projects on Oregon 6 have been defunded. So the funding continues with those, and our commitment to the county is still there that these 5 projects move forward with design and also construction. An update also, if you're interested, the Northwest Area Commission on Transportation meets this week on Thursday from 1 to 3. This time it's at the Clatsop Community College. I will send the package material as well as a link to the Zoom meeting to the county, and then you can have it for distribution for folks who may have an interest in that. I want to either come on board and take a look virtually, or you can also attend in person if you find yourself in the Clatsop in the Astoria area on Thursday. Commissioner, that's all I have, the updates, unless there's any questions.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Bill. Any questions regarding the ODOT projects? Well, I'm glad to hear that work is continuing and the funding is still there to move along Highway 6, because that for certain is a lifeline into Tillamook. I don't know how many vehicles travel a day. You probably do, but I know a good share of them are trucks and commercial traffic. And without that connection, Tillamook would be in a world of hurt simply by getting groceries and other commodities and supplies going both ways, by the way, lumber going out of here and seafood and so on. So, it's a big deal. So I hope you can solve the underground river problem, but I'm not sure that one can be solved immediately. If you got any comments on why that thing keeps shifting, do we know more than we did years ago, or what's going on with the underground stuff?
Yeah, well, Commissioner, a lot of those underground rivers, as you call them, those were solutions done in the 30s and 40s, and they're now showing the end of their useful life. The materials down there, whether it was concrete or steel, is rusting away. And so we're having to go down. The problem is some of these locations are very deep, 50, 60 feet below the roadway surface. And it becomes a safety factor as well, too, from able to get construction crews down there to excavate that old material and put in the new material to keep those underground rivers from, running smoothly out to the Wilson River. So it's definitely a challenge for sure, and they tend to be very expensive as well.
Well, thank you for that update. That's good information. And I think all of us travel Highway 6 from time to time, and we've all seen an accident or two up there as well. And so one of those things that Mother Nature usually has something to say about it. So Thanks again. We'll look for you next month.
All right. Thanks, Commissioner.
Very good. Okay, now let's go back to the sheriff if you're there and ready before we go to the commission. So Sheriff, come back on, please.
All right, I am here. Thank you, Commissioner Olson. I do appreciate it. I wanted to one of the things that happened when I switched to just going once a month at the beginning of each month was being able to give stats for the previous month, just to let everybody know exactly, not necessarily exactly what it is we're doing, but a snapshot of what we're doing. So I wanted to add a few stats to give some idea of what else we do besides our patrol. So I got some stats from our jail, and then I also broke down some of our other stats. So I will just go through and give you the numbers. So the total calls for service that we handled in July 1 to July 31st was 2,121 calls for services. From that, 93 criminal cases were submitted. We responded to 27 assault calls. We had 51 child abuse or child neglect type calls that we responded to, 32 disturbances. We had 17 missing person calls that we responded to in 1 month. That number is actually quite high. Motor vehicle accidents or recreational accidents, we had a total of 64 for the month of July. We conducted 220 traffic stops. From those traffic stops, 172 citations were issued. So clearly we had a month where a lot of the violations or traffic stop resulted in a level of violations that needed to be cited. So our citation numbers were definitely up a little bit. From those calls or those cases, we had 29 arrests, and just a small picture or snapshot of some of the charges that were associated with the arrests. This is not all inclusive. This is just some of the larger numbers of charges that were done on these. We had 6 arrests for assault 4. We had 5 arrests for harassment. 2 arrests were for menacing. 3 DUI arrests. We had 4 arrests for DUI, driving while suspended misdemeanors, and we had 7 warrant arrests for the month. Now, of course, like I said, that's not all inclusive. There was a lot of other charges, but those were some of the more prominent ones. So from there, that's kind of our patrol stats, and I wanted to share some information about our jail. So I had mentioned that we had 29 arrests, but that doesn't mean that the jail only had 29 bookings. We have numerous other agencies that make arrests as well. We have turn-ins, we have court situations that when a person has to come straight over. So our jail booked in 86 people in the month of July. From July 1 to July 31st, we had 86 bookings. And another number that is kind of staggering, and it's actually fairly low given that our count is low, is the number of meals that we serve in a given month. And in this particular month, our kitchen served 4,276 meals to our adult and custody population. So been busy. So those are the stats, and once we get all done, if anybody has questions about that, I can answer those. I want to just tell everybody how excited and how happy I was to be able to take part in all the parades that our community has. If you've been around Tillamook County for any amount of time, we are very proud of our parades. We love our parades, and they are extremely well attended, as well as the participation. So everything from June Dairy, Rockaway Beach Parade on the 4th of July, Clover's Day, Dory's Days, as well as Garibaldi Days. I was able to take part in all of those. I believe I've heard there are a couple more small ones, but those are the ones we were involved with, and I'm very grateful to be able to be involved in those. A big topic of conversation in this week's community update is the fair, and of course the sheriff's office will be out there. Come visit us at our booth. We've got, we'll have things to be able to give away to the kids. I want to remind anybody that's listening, if you have children or if you know somebody that has a child, we will have our lost child bracelets again. Should be at ticket booths as well as at our booth. Come by, we write your name and phone number on the inside of the wristband, and then that way if the child gets lost, we are able to call you directly, and it has been extremely successful over the last handful of years that we've been doing it. Additionally, we have some banners up that'll have, it almost kind of looks like a wanted picture. Kids kind of have a kick out of it. If you take a picture of your child next to that sign, if they do get lost, you can share that image with us, and it gives us an extremely current photo with the clothes that they're wearing at that moment. It can be very, very helpful. So definitely get a photo of your child with that and come get a bracelet. Otherwise, come visit us and say hi. We're going to be out there enjoying the fair and just trying to interact and keep the peace with everybody. And of course, we're going to enjoy some more Pronto Pups. Last thing I want to mention is that I did have a sheriff's interview with a candidate a few weeks ago, offered him a job, and he accepted. So hopefully within the next few weeks to a month, we will have this person starting in our patrol division. So that is exciting. We are down to only 1 or 2 open positions now. I can't remember the exact number. So that is very, very exciting because we're moving closer and closer to full staffing on our patrol side. And with that, that is my report. And Commissioner, I can take any questions if there is any.
Well, thank you, Sheriff. I do have one question, and maybe you can answer this off the top of your head. You recited some very interesting statistics for July. If you were to go back and look at the same thing in February, what percent is it larger in July? And the reason I ask that is I think everyone knows the impact that our visitors have across the county, not just on law enforcement, but lots of other things, including our roads. And of course, one of the challenges to the commission is to figure out how to pay for all this impact that comes from visitors. And we do that through a number of methods, including a room tax if you stay overnight. But we're looking at other options. So how does February compare to July, just in very round numbers, Sheriff?
Well, I'm going back to look on the stats here. Now, February is a month that's 2 days shorter, so that's going to be something to consider. And if you give me a second to click my button, I can tell you just really quick off the top of my head, or off based on this, the total calls for service is 1,316. So what is that? About 800, 900 more calls for service, which is about 30 a day more for the month of July compared to the month of February.
Well, that's a good illustration then of what we're talking about. Do you have any method of keeping track when you have a call for one thing or another? I suppose you could do the research, but do you know how many of those are involved with people who are full-time residents versus those who are visiting our county?
Right now, we have no method of tracking that information. It's funny because as all of you know, Commissioner-elect Paul Fournier is also the part-time PIO for the sheriff's office, and he's been bugging me and Under Sheriff Kelly to try to come up with a system to be able to track that. It may be as simple as just having deputies click a button. It may be as simple as a clearance code, but we don't have that ability right now to track it. I do know that at one point I had staff over in the jail do a quick search. They had to hand count or hand tally all of the persons that were arrested, and I was able to determine about 37% of the people booked into our jail in that particular snapshot of time that I asked them to do were not local residents. As far as how many of the calls that we handle deal directly with or indirectly with tourists, we don't have a way of tracking that right now, and it is something that is on our radar to track for the exact reason that you just mentioned, funding. So, but I don't have that right now.
All right. Well, thank you, Sheriff. That's just good information in any event, because I think we all clearly understand the impact that our visitors have. And visitors are great. They leave lots of money behind. And of course, it's still a free country. You can move around and go anywhere you want, at least within America. And so lots of people come here. And I always tell people the county has about 27,000 people in February, and probably a few of those down in Arizona or somewhere in the winter. But we've got 127,000, if not more than that, in July and August, like right now. And of course, that's an impact on law enforcement, on our roads and everything else. So the commissioners are looking really, really carefully at how do we fund the impact of those folks? How do we ask them to help pay for it? And of course, there's property taxes where people who own property but don't live here, that is part of it. And if they stay overnight, there's a room tax, and maybe there's other ways. So we're looking for things that begin to equalize the cost that's placed on all of us here in Tillamook County. So thank you, Sheriff. We'll move on now and go to the Board of Commissioners and see if Commissioner Bell is on. She was moving around this morning, I think, out at the fair. But Commissioner, are you with us this morning?
Good morning. I am. Well, thank you. I want to thank Commissioner Olson for chairing the meeting for me. Indeed, I needed to go to the fair this morning and drop off some exhibits. So Senator Weber was talking about showing things at the fair. I think it's just really fun. I want to second what she said about encouraging people to show things. It may very well be too late for this year, but think about it for next year. So, for example, this year I'm showing some flowers and some cookies. I have a new recipe for cookies. I love to bake, so it's a fun way to share baking. I have a new recipe that uses panela, which is the hard brown cane sugar that you see sometimes in stores, often in the Mexican food section. And they're like hard little discs of brown cane sugar. And if you grate them or chop them and use them in cookies, the little bits melt and taste like toffee. So good. So I'm exhibiting some cookies and some flowers, and I'm a gardener, and it's just a really fun way to share like the things that grew particularly well this year, or the things that are blooming right this minute. And it's fun. And not only that, but it increases I think what makes our fair special is that the more local people who exhibit the things they're proud of, the more interest there is. You know, I love to go through everybody's exhibits. I love to see what the quilters are doing, and the photographers, and the other bakers, and all the flowers, and the artwork, and the little kid art. I especially love it. And so I just think it's one thing that makes our fair really special. And I encourage people to think about, for next year, think about what is something that you make that you're super proud of, or something you grow that you're proud of, etc. So I encourage people to enter things in the fair, and so that's what I'm up to this morning. And I really appreciate the conversation with the sheriff and Commissioner Olson about the impacts of visitors in Tillamook County. And as Commissioner Olson was saying, we're working on budget issues. We had a budget workshop yesterday. You've heard us talking about this. We're looking ahead, not very far ahead, to a couple of years from now when our expenses will exceed our revenue. And so we have to do something about that now. And so we're looking for places to cut expenses, of course, and places to generate revenue. And as Doug said, now I'm just repeating what he said, that what is very clear is there's tremendous impact on our community by visitors, both good and expensive. And so, visitors require a lot of services when we're here from the sheriff's department, and the sheriff's office is the biggest piece of the general fund, because of course, law enforcement isn't a fee-based service. So we can't just charge people when we pull them over or arrest them. It might be nice if we could, but we can't. So that's the biggest piece of the general services budget is the sheriff's office, and it's extremely important. So we're looking at, if this was a sleepy little town in county in Eastern Oregon with 27,000 people, the sheriff's office wouldn't be nearly as busy as we are here with our massive influx of visitors. And yesterday we heard in our workshop from DA Olson, the district attorney, Aubrey Olson, that also carries over to her office, which makes perfect sense, that a lot of the cases that they are prosecuting are also from out-of-towners, DUIs, for example, so driving under the influence. So we are looking at that, and we're just also, not exclusively visitor impacts, but what are other things, where are other places that we might be able to generate revenue? For example, yesterday, we have been thinking and talking about carbon credits for some time. It's not a new idea. And specifically, I had been thinking about carbon credits in the Tillamook County owned forest. Tillamook County has some owned forest tracts of land, not a huge quantity, but some. And I've been wondering, how can we sell carbon credits on those? But yesterday in our meeting, I had the idea that we should, Commissioner Scar isn't on this call, but I'll follow up on this with her later, and also with our legislators, that we should be talking to the state because of the Habitat Conservation Plan that you've also been hearing us talk about. The Habitat Conservation Plan through the Department of Forestry will lock up some of our forest, Tillamook State Forest, for 70 years for conservation efforts. So you heard that number right, 70 years. It's in my mind, an outrageously long plan. So that will, certain parts of our forest will be locked up for conservation for 70 years and taken out of the harvest rotation. So that is income that will not be available to us, which is spurring the forthcoming budget shortfall, in part, not exclusively, but definitely it making a negative impact. So the thought I had in this workshop yesterday was we should be negotiating with the state for us to be able to sell carbon credits on Tillamook State Forest that they are locking up in conservation because we can't harvest it, we can't use it, and we will lose the revenue from it for the next 70 years. So I'm going to pursue that. So that was an exciting thought to me. And there were some other very interesting things that came out of our workshop yesterday, like we were talking about all of the undersea cables that land they come all the way across the Pacific Ocean and land in Tillamook County. There are a lot of them. And we have undercharged for those cable landings. And so we need to look at that. There is revenue to be made there. They specifically don't go to California because it's too expensive. And there's opportunity there. So we're looking at those kinds of ideas. We're looking for those kinds of ideas. If people who are listening to this call have some revenue generating ideas, please send them to me or to Doug or to Commissioner Scar and let us know what your ideas are, because I know that there are a lot of great ideas in this community, and we'd like to hear from you. So with that, I think I will sign off and say thanks again to Commissioner Olson for chairing.
Well, thank you, Commissioner. Good to hear from you this morning. I'm sure I'll encounter you at the fair. I'll be out there setting up a booth this afternoon. You mentioned Commissioner Scar is not on. I'll see if she's online anywhere or phoning in. Commissioner Scar, are you available at all this morning? Well, I don't hear her, and I didn't see her vehicle, so I know she was in Salem yesterday, at least part of the day. But so I will just add a couple of things here. We've talked a lot about the fair, and all the commissioners will be there the rest of the week, either in a booth or doing one thing or another, helping out. We do have a booth that will be inside the main building, and it is set up by a group that I've headed up, supporting a radio bond that will go before the voters this November. And we've got a lot of good information. We'll have people there who can answer questions. It's a $24.4 million bond, a lot of money. The cost to taxpayers, it will be approximately 33 cents per $1,000 of assessed valuation. So you can figure out the impact to your own property. This is to replace a system that is over 20 years old, that is mostly analog, not digital. It doesn't work as well as it should. The parts aren't available when a radio breaks down. And if you stop and think about public safety, meaning the police, the sheriff's office, the fire departments, the ambulance service, public works, Tillamook PUD, all of those groups use radio systems to talk to one another, to talk to 911 dispatch, and so on. And so the system we have is beginning to fail, seriously fail. And so we have put together a plan for a new system. We had a well-known national consultant come in and design a state-of-the-art system. We have secured $2 million in grants already to help pay for it, but the balance comes from the voters, as is usually the case with major capital purchases. So we'll have a booth that's not too far from the Tillamook ice cream booth in the same building. and we can explain it in some detail, give you a handout or two, and answer questions if you have questions. So we'll be working on that later today and over the weekend and fair, of course. The only other thing I will mention is the events for the summer are almost done. I think there might be another parade or two, as was mentioned earlier. I will mention that on the 31st, which is the last day of August, there's the Cloverdale Cruise-In, which is one of those events where people bring in their older vehicles that they've restored or hot rods and all kinds of really, really interesting vehicles, and they line them up right in the middle of Cloverdale on Highway 101. And if you enjoy looking at older cars that have been restored or well cared for, that's a good place. Doesn't cost you anything. You just show up, walk up and down, and have a good look at these cars that sometimes are worth, $40, $50, $60,000 that originally sold for maybe $1,500 years ago. So that's on the 31st of August in Cloverdale. So with that, let's go to our cities. And I believe Manzanita is not on today. So we'll just go down to Nehalem. Anyone from the city of Nehalem? Well, I didn't see anybody online. How about Wheeler? And Rockaway Beach, I got a message that they're not available. Someone from Rockaway is not available as well. So let's go to Garibaldi. How about Garibaldi? Last call for Garibaldi.
This is Jake from Garibaldi. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. Fine. Very well. Thank you. And go ahead.
Howdy. So it's going to be a very uninteresting update in that there's kind of no news since last week. Still just getting my feet under me and trying to get stuff underway. So I think ODOT really gave the big news on the project starting down there on the highway. So that's all I've got.
Well, thank you very much. Yes, there is some things going on in Garibaldi, and I've heard nothing but good reports on the parade that you had under Garibaldi days. And I've been to that a number of times, and it's one of the better events in all of Tillamook County for sure. So more to come on all of that, and we'll look for you next week. So how about Bay City? We either have the mayor or the city manager usually from Bay City. Well, I don't hear anything there, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're both out setting up something at the fair. And people who go to the fair, they ordinarily work in one booth. Sometimes they work in 2 or 3 or 4 and just rotate from one to another. And that's how all this happens with mostly volunteers. So we'll go down to Tillamook and see if Nathan George is available for the city of Tillamook.
Good morning, Commissioner. Hear me okay?
I hear you just fine. Go right ahead.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. So I want to give a quick update on council. First of all, they include the swearing-in ceremony for our new chief, Nick Troxel. It was a great ceremony with a large turnout for our community. I mean, it was really packed. People were standing room only. Chief Troxel and our police department have been and will continue serving and protecting our community with a high-level service. We're excited to have him officially in his position and congratulate him. Also at the council meeting, council approved a new liquor license for Safeway. That's simply because of a change in ownership. As you may know, Safeway is being bought out by the Kroger Corporation, so they had to get a new permit for their liquor license. Also, we had the first time ever a liquor license was approved for one of the food carts that's on city property. So council approved that request, and the city will be putting in a little bit different regulations for food carts who want to come before the council and have alcohol on city property, which is allowed by our code with specific regulations in place. So that's exciting. The Tillamook Urban Renewal Agency had a minor plan amendment that they had proposed to the council for the Tillamook Fire District's proposal to purchase a new generator for their fire station, which is number 71. So that was not approved by the city council in the vote of 4-2. So also, the Adventist Health Tillamook had made a proposal to put in about $60,000 worth of upgrades and plants and trees and benches and so forth on some property the city owns just north of the hospital, actually the north of the I guess it's the urgent care center north of the parking lot there on property it used to be where the public works garage was. So that's exciting. The city council has accepted that, and we're looking forward to that partnership. They'll be, of course, for everybody, not just for them, but they'll be improving that, and also have some improvements into the area where the city is taking over the Southern Flow Corridor property, known as the Sodry property, will be taken over by the city from the county, and that will give an opportunity for people to have a little kind of entrance. So we're very excited about that, and that was approved. Also, the city had a first reading on an ordinance prohibiting the obstruction of public rights-of-way and the unlawful transfer of property between vehicles and pedestrians on rights-of-way. So that is primarily an ordinance to help stop illegal devices such as drugs or other things being transferred between property, between a person and between cars or vehicles. So that's another tool in the toolbox for our police department. And also looking at those cars and things parking right away. So a lot of discussion on that. We had good discussion, and we're working forward. And the second reading will probably be on the next council meeting. So that was the basic actions that happened. Also, in the police department, Sergeant Hollis and Chief Troxel had a good conversation with the Oregon Department of Motor Vehicles regarding responding to calls for service at our local DMV. As you are probably aware, DMV is located within city limits. The focus of the conversation was processing for working with the DMV when a threat or potential threat was identified. It was a great conversation and coordination effort. Chief Troxel went to KTIL and talked on the Tillamook Today show. It was a great opportunity to chat about parking restrictions on 3rd Street in front of Fairgrounds, National Night Out, which is tomorrow, and ordinance violations. Sergeant Harrell and Sergeant Hollis, Chief Troxel, myself, City Manager, Assistant City Manager Christensen, our Public Works Director Sean Berger, and Assistant Public Works Director Kyle Fetzer all attended an internal affairs investigation training last week, which was an excellent training for our leadership team. Just one of those tools we have to keep an excellent team and make sure we're performing at a high performance. Chief Troxel is continuing to work with the Oregon Chiefs of Police Association on a complete review of the police department. This is a great thing for our police department. There'll be 3 to 5 chiefs of police from Oregon coming in to review our department. The plan is to have this completed by the end of October. So we did this when I first came back in 2021, and we're having it done again so we can keep making sure that we are moving in a high-performance organization. Our police department is performing the highest standards and the best for our community. Sergeant Harrell and Chief Troxel attended the Tillamook County Major Crimes meeting last week. We're proud of this team and grateful for the dedication they've shown by all agencies assigned to this team. And don't forget, tomorrow night is National Night Out from 5 to 7 p.m. at Goodspeed Park. There'll be free hot dogs, hamburgers, chips, and ice cream, Tillamook ice cream sandwiches, of course. And I even heard there might be a dunk tank there. Public Works Department, the Streets and Parks Division will continue to water and maintain the hanging flower baskets along Main Street and Pacific Avenue. And wanted to mention yesterday, Senator Weber told me that she thought they're the most beautiful flowers we've had ever, and I have to agree with her. And by the way, she was our special guest at the Chief Troxel swearing in last night, and even brought a gift from former Senator Betsy Johnson, which was great for Chief Troxel's wife. A giant flower arrangement was really neat. So sorry, I jumped over there. In addition to performing routine maintenance tasks like street sweeping and pothole filling and bioswale maintenance, Public Works staff is still there for you. The water distribution division's in the process of reading water meters throughout the week. Please don't park on or obstruct access to your water meter during this period to ensure accurate reading. Utility payments are due on the 15th of this month, and we have various options available on our website or by calling in to City Hall staff and talking to our utilities division of the finance department. As more sewer laterals are replaced and the city continues collaborating with the contractors and homeowners, please be aware of the increased construction activity around town. For your information, many homeowners are complying with the city code and getting their sewer lateral lines inspected and repaired when needed. This is greatly appreciated and is helping to start reducing the cost to residents. As you may know, the city spends over an extra $1 million a year treating stormwater, which is rainwater, because of all the inflow and infiltration that's coming into our system. And a majority of this is actually from private residential lines. So those who have not fixed their lines are it will basically translates into a lot of extra costs for all our residents, due to those who did not maintain their lines, especially for those who did maintain their lines. So appreciate people getting those fixed. Join us on Friday, August 23rd at Goodspeed Park for the evening community fun and family entertainment. City Tillamook's partnering with Nehalem Bay Health Center to host a free family-friendly resource fair and outdoor movie night aimed at encouraging engagement for our Latino population. So very excited about that. There'll be a lot of food and community-based vendors. The local food truck at 9 p.m. will be showing the movie Coco with popcorn. It's open to adults and children of all ages and abilities. You can bring your favorite seating, chairs, blankets, etc., and snacks and non-alcoholic beverages. And don't forget to spread the word to your family and friends. So that is Friday, October 23rd in the evening, and the movie will start at 9. As we strive to maintain our parks and keep them clean and safe from family-friendly spaces, we have unfortunately continued to be experiencing an increase in graffiti and vandalism in city parks and bathrooms. This has led to extended bathroom closures for repairs. If you see any suspicious or illegal activity, please call 911. I was actually out on 3rd Street yesterday, and some residents were talking to me, telling me about they had witnessed some damage to trees along the Tillamook Bay Community College along their property, and I reminded them, if you see that happening, please call dispatch immediately so that our police can respond and catch people in the act so they can be cited or otherwise it can be properly handled. So I ask everyone, please, if you see anything, don't just report it on Facebook or your friends. Please call our dispatch. For all other inquiries, including maintenance requests for potholes, damaged signs, overgrown vegetation, any other problems, please call our City Hall or email publicworks@tillamook.gov. And for urgent matters, you can also call our main line and get to an on-call employee. City is hiring a deputy city recorder position with competitive pay and benefits. Please see our website or stop by City Hall for an application. The city has historically been closed for a half day on the last day that the city is open during the Tillamook Fair week. And this year we will be closed the entire day on Thursday, August 8th, which is the last business day for us during this week, to number one, support Tillamook County and our community during the county fair week, and second, to thank our city employees for the extremely hard work they do keeping city services running, especially with limited resources. We will resume our normal business hours on Monday, August 12th at 7:30 a.m. And all municipal elections for the city's website are live. Will be live through next week, August 13th. A reminder, wards 1, 3, 5, and 6 are all open seats. To run for city office, the resident must complete the packet found on the city's website, and it can also be picked up at City Hall, the office of the Deputy City Recorder. And it can be returned to us, returned to Tammy Heinzman. And again, it is wards 1, 3, 5, and 6. I had an email from someone wanting to run for Ward 2, and Ward 2 is not an open seat. So just trying to remind people, it's wards 1, 3, 5, and 6. We have our ward map on our website. If anybody has any questions what ward they live in. Reminder, if you see something, say something by calling 911 for dispatch, or excuse me, for emergencies, dispatch for non-emergencies, as I talked about earlier. The next regular council meeting will be held on Monday, August 19th at 7 p.m. We encourage everyone to attend that would like to. And finally, I would like to say I hope everyone has an opportunity to enjoy the Tillamook County Fair next week. It's always fun and wonderful venue, and my wife and I will be there as well, bringing some of her family. So thank you, Commissioner. I really appreciate it. That's my report.
Well, thank you, Nathan. We no doubt will see you walking around the fair as well. Most of us will be there all 4 days. So anything else from anybody? Questions for anyone? Last call. All right. Well, thank you all. And with that, we're going to adjourn the meeting at 9:03. And thanks to KTIL for broadcasting and everyone for listening. We'll be back same time, same place next week. Thank you all.